another Fun Friday. We're so excited. We always love our Fun Fridays because that's what it's all about, is having fun. It's having fun connecting with your family, connecting with your spouse. It's just, what's better in life than to do that? And today we have some extra special guests with us to help add to that. So have you ever heard of outlanding? So
I had not.
So we're fixing to get into some stuff here, but I just wanted to introduce
overlanding.
Overland. I said outland. Overland.
That's the show you like to watch.
So see, I'm telling you, it's going to be a great episode already. I mean, we're starting out strong here, but this is kind of new to us as well. So we're so excited to bring Sonya and Necota Staples here to be able to share this fun, exciting outdoors just adventure that they're on. It's just amazing, but they are outdoor experts. Okay. So it's camping, glamping, all things tent, all things outdoors. They are YouTubers, bloggers. Let me give some statistics that we got from their website. So they've got 6 years into this, 3 continents, 10 countries, 26 states, 40K miles logged. Y'all have been busy exploring. So thank you both for being here. How are you doing today?
Excellent.
We're doing amazing.
Excellent.
Amazing. And after that great interview, I just feel real good about myself.
You should. I mean, I was looking at
who are those people?
I was looking at all that going, oh my goodness, y'all have like really logged some miles and seen some stuff. And man, I'm so excited to dive into this. It's going to be great.
Yeah, y'all are living the dream. And so just to give our listeners just a little bit about y'all, because I connected with y'all with your story, and we're going to get into that here in just a minute, but just to let them know a little bit of your family dynamics, because we are a blended family podcast. A lot of times we bring on like blended families that come and share their expert stories, but sometimes we bring in guests that aren't blended families. So just sharing, who are you? What are your family dynamics? How long you've been married? Do y'all have kids? Where are you calling home right now?
All right. Yeah. So I'm Necota Staples of Staples and Tents, and
Sonya Staples of Staples and Tents.
Yeah. And we have been married for almost 19 years next
it'll be
month.
19 next month.
Wow.
And we were together 5 years before we got married. I had 2 children, 2 girls, lovely women. That are now adults, 28 years old, and we have been a blended family since the day Sonya and I met.
Yeah, we met my freshman year in college, and Necota was a junior, and we've pretty much been together since then. And his girls were 5 when we met. 12? No, we got married 5 years. No, they were 8.
Yeah. They were right around it.
They were young. They were young when we met. So the girls, they didn't grow up in the house with us, but they would come summers and holidays and, as much as we could. And we had a little family.
Yeah. We made the most of it. We had to use telephones a lot to really stay connected. But it worked, it really did have its own challenges, but that's what family is, and I'm grateful for it. We're still very well connected, still very loving, and we still we now have a whole lot of other tools, Zoom,
like Zoom.
FaceTime, all of those things. It's a whole lot easier to stay connected now.
Yeah, 20 years ago it was a lot tougher.
Man, and that's why I love asking that question, because I had no idea y'all were a blended family. And I've watched those videos where you're traveling, but I haven't seen, heard that part of the story. So just hearing that, like when we ask these questions and just to get the insight, so y'all have like the legit experience of being a blended family and being the adventure type, going out and doing, and then to be married for as long as y'all have been married as well. And that's what we're going to get into just a second, a little bit of that background of the story, but to see what brought y'all to this place.
Yeah, I love hearing that. And, kind of getting into the whole marriage part, kind of y'all had hit a point in your marriage that was really challenging for the two of you. And that kind of led y'all into some new territory. Could you explain maybe about that and what came from that?
Yeah, so we had a ton of issues in our relationship, like most relationships do.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where um we just didn't see a path forward, and we entered counseling, did intensive counseling for years. And one day our therapist, she gave us the advice to say yes to each other. She was like, it's a whole lot that's working, but there's a whole lot that's still not working. So how about just say yes to each other? And I think Necota probably realized first how much we were saying no to each other. I think I still struggle with me saying no to him, even that's been
Recent.
8 years later, 8 years from that original piece of advice. That's something that we're still working on, is saying yes more. But in her giving us the advice to say yes to each other, the idea of going camping came up, and we were at our core city people. We lived in downtown Atlanta. We drove fancy sports cars. We lived in a condo. On weekends, we went to art galleries, museums, theaters, lounges, hanging out with our friends. Being out in the woods was just not our thing. We would do adventurous things, like we went skydiving, went whitewater rafting, but just going camping and hanging out in the woods was not us. But my best friend would go at the time, so I suggested that we go camping, and Necota was like, no, but I guess, because I'm supposed to
camping. Wait a minute.
It started as a no.
Hard no.
I know.
Yeah. But it was one of those times where it was like, hey, this is what the counselor was talking about, where you should be saying yes to each other when someone wants to try a new idea. Be open for it. And so I had to pull myself back. And then she started laying out the logistics of how we were going to use my midlife crisis car to get us to this campground or get us to our friend's house. And I was like, nope, not going to do it. But reluctantly, I went. And when we got out there, it was, the classic stories, a dark and stormy night. The wind was whistling through the trees. I was over in the corner in my feelings, angry about the whole thing, because I'm like, why am I here? So
my car is in the mud, it's raining. We had to set up this tent in the rain.
Dark.
Right.
What do we do?
What did we do?
But Sonya, she stayed the course. She was even keeled with it, and she leaned in. And the next morning, I woke up and I was still in my feelings about it, and really looking for the escape hatch out of the marriage, out of this camp, or out of this camping situation. I just wanted to get back to Atlanta and say, I'm done. But she pulled me aside and she said, listen, Necota, you can't do anything about the time of day that we got here, the wind, the rain. You can't do anything about our marriage and how we got there, but you can choose to be happy. And it just like hit me like a punch in the chest. And I took a step back, walked around the corner, ate me a Snickers bar. It was like, I'm going to be Mr. Party Man. I'm going to have a great time. And I did. I was blown by the connectedness with nature. We were shucking oysters. We were gathering wood, because Sonya was like, you can't have a camp.
Gotta have a campfire.
Gotta have a campfire.
Yeah, that's like a staple. You have to do that.
Yes,
I mean, s'mores, marshmallow, all that. Campfire songs.
You gotta do all of it. So by the end of the weekend, I was like hooked. Hooked. And when we were driving back, it was like, I want my own tent. I want my own gear.
And I was like, pump the brakes. Right. My first camping trip, and now you want to buy a new car. You want to buy everything.
Right. So, like, what did I just open the door to?
Right, exactly. Right. But we did get our first tent that in the car that day. We got it off Craigslist. We found a tent and connected with someone. And from there, we would go camping every 4 to 6 weeks, just to create some positive space and positive energy between us. Because what we found is that camping allowed us kind of that space that we needed to explore ourselves, explore each other in a different environment, kind of gave us something different to work on together, allowed us to work on our communication skills, and then just change the dynamics of what we had going on in the relationship. Because I was the more experienced camper at the time, it kind of forced the roles to change a little bit. And we saw each other in a different light.
Yeah, completely different. And
Yeah.
you know, you think about when you go camping and stuff, it's you're working on dinner or you're working on this, and it's just very much a contrast to what we had as a city life.
Mhm.
You know, we would go eat out pretty much every other day, so we couldn't really feel good about saying that we were doing a date night on, and it could be any given day that you could claim that. So this gave us an opportunity to really hone in on each other, and work on communication, collaborating, to do the things that are necessary to have a really good camp.
Yeah, it was like these weekend team building activities,
Yeah.
you know.
Man, and would y'all go into it with that expectation? Like, I guess this is what I'm thinking in my woman brain. You know, I'm frustrated with him about something, and I know we have a camping trip coming up in 2 weeks. So I'm like, okay, I'm holding on to that. We're gonna work through that. So would y'all like plan or prepare these things, or would it just happen naturally out of this? I mean, I'm just thinking of you, Necota, like you start building that fire and the stuff inside of a man to like provide in that way, you know, the caveman inside.
Man makes fire.
Yes.
I made fire.
That instinctual stuff.
Right.
Yeah, like
You know,
is it all that it just brings out this need to have these deep conversations, or do y'all have like a list of things you're going to talk about? How does that work?
No, for us it was max chillax. You know,
Yeah.
we were trying to get out into the forest to get to a happy space, and it's like, what are the things that you want to bring that are going to make you happy?
Right.
And let's focus on that. And when we get out to the camp, we wanted to set it up as quickly as possible so that we could get some hammock time. So those were the things that were our focal points in getting out there, and then just sort of really letting conversations naturally occur. You know, we try to work on things when they happen, so that we don't have to carry them.
That's what we're learning, even still.
Yeah, even still, you know, it's a challenge because there are times when you don't want to have a conversation because your emotions might be too high. So for us, when we go out into the woods or go camping in places like that, it really is trying to focus on calming your energy down, being relaxed, and just connecting either with yourself, you know, because sometimes you just want to be out there, whether we're together or not. You can still have time to be alone where you can work on eating, meditating, going on hikes. There are a lot of different things that can help to restore you while you're in those spaces. And that's what we try to focus on even today.
Yeah, because what we found then is that we always enjoyed ourselves when we were on vacation, like regardless of how bad it was. If we went on vacation, we had a really good time. So with camping, we try to create that same atmosphere. We're getting away, we're enjoying ourselves, the activity, each other. And that kind of, you know, let down our guard a little bit.
And it made us more open to each other, more open to new ideas, new places, because, you know, being city dwellers, so to speak, and growing up the way that we did, we had a very different paradigm for what vacationing looked like, and places that we would go to feel comfortable. And being out in the forest, being out in national parks was not part of that recipe. You know, it's like beaches and cities, and shopping are the key elements to vacationing, so to speak. And here we are now exploring something that is completely different in what it offers as restoration and happiness in a vacation kind of setting. So for us, this is a brand new way of looking at connecting to each other, but also connecting with the nature in the areas that we live in. You know, we didn't understand just how beautiful America was until we started down this journey. And now, you know, we go from town to town. Some of them are small towns, some of them are big, but we really see the microcosm of American society. I mean, and it's nice to see. It's really pleasant to get out into the communities and find new mom and pops and just how people live in any particular place.
I love that. I mean, there just from that, there is like so many takeaways. I'm sitting here, you know, just going back to you at the start, you're city dwellers, and so many of us are, right? We live in our house all the time. We're constantly indoors.
The comfort.
The comfort, and that's just our way of living. And even on vacation, sometimes we go to more indoors or things like that. But to do something new, to do something different, to step out and to have that resistance at first, but then to have that realization saying, I can choose joy,
Right.
and just going up initially being just really disgruntled with it, saying, I'm just miserable. This is not how I want to how I want it to be. But then saying, you know what? I can't control everything else, but I can control this. And whenever
Mhm.
you did, it opened up a whole new world for the both of you that now you're enjoying it, and it lit a fire to where you're experiencing something new and you're doing it together.
Yeah.
And we believe so much in outdoors because there's something I just know as human beings, we were created to be
Yeah, it's
outside.
healing. Yeah.
And it really is, it's restoring, as you're saying, and to be able to do that and to get quiet and to really be able to refuel yourself. So often we're trying to refuel ourselves with so many other things and we never achieve that. But you found a way to refuel yourselves, and now it's created a new lifestyle for the two of you doing this.
Yeah.
As like,
Yeah.
man, but you're taking something to where y'all were at brink of divorce. Y'all were at brink of, we're done with this marriage, too many problems, too many complications, but y'all chose to say yes to something, and y'all chose to continue trying and doing something new. And from that, or 19 years married, and living together and running Staples in tents, together, and creating this new lifestyle for yourselves. So I just, man, I'm blown away by just all the information that you have here. But I've got to ask, okay, so overlanding, that's one of the big things. Overlanding is one of the main things that y'all do. Explain to our audience, what is
Because we had
overlanding?
never heard of it before. We're like, we've heard of glamping, but not overlanding.
We hadn't heard of it before 6 years ago. So
So overlanding is vehicle dependent travel. Mostly you want to be in a culture that's different than your own. That's it at its essence. But people consider overlanding in different forms of travel, whether it's bicycle, motorcycle, car, truck, SUV, all the way up to these very big rigs. People consider using, people choose whatever it is that makes them happy to travel in that mode. But the true underlying part of it is to travel into different countries, to explore cultures that are not necessarily your own. So that's what it's been for us. And it's one of those things that have helped us to say yes to the world, to try to be more well-rounded citizens of the planet, so that we can help, turn the tide. We want this earth to be around for our grandchildren, my great grandchildren, in this very similar capacity that we have been able to experience it. So we got into overlanding as an extension of our glamping exercises, trying to camp a little bit further, go and see a little bit more, and it eventually transitioned from a first cross-country trip. And that was our first time exploring the fabric of America, which was very different from our own culture that we had nurtured within ourselves. We're Black people, and
growing up in the South.
Right, we grew up in the South. We went to a HBCU, and then we moved to one of the Blackest cities in the country and lived in the middle of that city. So our culture was very much centered around that, and we hadn't really seen a lot of mainstream America
Or middle America
at all. And so it's like, all right, all we know of these places are the sports teams and maybe some geographical meaning, geographical
Landmarks or something.
Right. And prior to us discovering overlanding, we just enjoy travel. We tried to travel in the country and internationally as much as we could. And even before overlanding, we might go to Vegas, rent a car, and drive outside the city, go see Hoover Dam, go see the Valley of Fire. So we always, even then, enjoyed traveling and getting outside of a city. But even with that, traveling across the country and seeing the legit middle of nowhere places, driving for miles and not seeing people. It was a very different experience. And then to, get to a city and no one looked like you, it was very different experiences for us. And then traveling internationally, doing the same thing. I mean, we were in Africa for 2.5 months, and you would think we would fit in really well, right? No, no, we didn't. We stood up. Like, and it wasn't much different from when we were in Middle America. People were very curious, wondering who we were, why we were here. Because in the cities, they were very accustomed to seeing Black Americans or just Americans in general. But in a lot of the rural areas, it was the same in Colombia, in Mexico, in the Southern Africa countries we visited. There were people who had never seen a Black American before, which is mind blowing.
Yeah.
So we quickly found that we were moving into being ambassadors of America, but also ambassadors of our culture. So it's been really dope to be those people as we travel. We feel very privileged and honored to have found ourselves in this position that Overlanding has provided for us, and we really enjoy being able to meet different cultures, different people, learn different languages, how to say hello, or
right.
It's been really cool Overlanding.
I have so many different questions. I'm like, I mean, even from when y'all were talking earlier, I'm like, okay, no, that would be more of a Monday topic, getting into the realness of this. I was like, okay, no, I want us to understand Overlanding. So it's like your vehicle, whatever you're using, and you're putting a tent, any kind of tent, or they're created specifically to go on top of the vehicle, the back of the vehicle.
So
how does that work?
It varies just depending on the style of overlanding you're doing, because of course someone in a bicycle or a motorcycle, they can't put a tent on their vehicle. So, they'll typically have saddlebags and carry like a small backpacking tent. When we first started, we had our Land Cruiser, but we didn't have any type of tent attachment. So we just used a regular ground tent, the same that we used when we first started camping. And now that we are living, our vehicle is our home. We have a rooftop tent that we sleep in. A lot of people, they get trailers to pull behind. Some people do RVs. So it really just depends on what makes you comfortable and what you want to do.
So here in the United States, I could see it being, I guess, where you're going to go and what you're going to do. Like, it's set up a little more where we have a lot of campsites and everything, and you go, and that can already be like a little nerve-wracking or scary trying to figure out your locations. But then even going in other countries and traveling and not knowing, because at least here you have some of the same cultures and language and everything, but y'all are traveling in other countries as well and having to find these different locations. So does that make do y'all get nervous, or are you well thought out ahead of time, or do you just drive and figure things out?
I wish we could say that we plan more than we do. We're terrible planners. We really do feel our way through it. We have a general itinerary a lot of time. Africa was more planned out. We knew where we were going to stay. But we just kind of feel our way through it, planning as we go. But we're very fortunate that we have each other. In terms of our background, we're both engineers, so we're natural problem solvers. And we like adventure, so we try to be fairly flexible.
And there are a few apps that are out that help with being able to say, hey, these are places that you can camp. These are places that you can find to hang out for whatever reasons. And the countries that were in Africa, we did a Southern Africa loop that took us from South Africa to Namibia, from Namibia to a little bit of Zambia, and then we dropped back down into Botswana, drove through there, and then back into South Africa for a few more weeks. But during that travel, those southern countries in Africa are built out for overlanders. So it's really, really easy to navigate those countries and find places to stay without any major headaches,
And most people in those countries in Southern Africa speak English. So that was a really good trip for us. Mexico, not so much.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, or the dangers, you just never, you hear all of the things, like I'm thinking in Africa and in my
lions and
just the little bit that I've heard even from like mission trips that I've heard people go on, and then you have like this lion out here while you're trying to go to the bathroom at night. And then I think Mexico and the stories that you hear about traveling there when you're too far away from any touristy places. And so I don't think of things like to really get scared until he's the one that's like, what about this? What about this? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, all those things are very real. In terms of wildlife, there's wildlife everywhere. It's just different wildlife, so all the same rules apply. Clean up after yourself, throw your trash away, don't leave it out at night, whether it's bears, raccoons, lions, it's all the same.
And fire. Build a fire.
Yeah, build a fire. It attracts animals.
The rules of the bush.
Nice.
And
fire deters everything.
And in terms of like just our general safety and being scared, we like to look at it as there's crime and bad things happening everywhere. And we all live in America, and with all the shootings and violence that take place here, a lot of people are afraid to come to America. We're desensitized to it as Americans because we deal with it every day. The same things that happen in other countries, they're happening here. It's just we think about it differently. When they say someone was hung or shot or whatever in Mexico City, we're like, oh my God, I can't go to Mexico City. But
it's like talking about someone being shot in Los Angeles or New York City
or Chicago. It happens.
It might be good news, but but in the grand scheme of things, with the scale of those cities, I mean, we don't really think much about when we hear it here in America. And I think it's just one of those things that causes us to be alarmed when we think about these cities, because we think about them in the scale that we are used to on our day-to-day life. But when we got to Mexico City and saw how major a city it was,
it's a metropolis.
It's a world, it's a world city, and it's beautiful. The people were amazingly nice, kind, helpful. There was never a time where we there's always the language barriers. So when we gave the wrong amount of money, down to like 5-year-old kids
selling candy, it's no, that's too much
money. And give you the correct change back, no matter who it was.
Wow.
So we had a wonderful experience in Mexico with the people. Never felt threatened, never felt afraid, and always felt like if we needed help, someone would be there for us.
Yeah, and I think just like with animals, with humans, the same rules apply. I'm not going to walk around a city in the middle of like 2:00 in the morning by myself, with my purse on my shoulder, just out there. I'm just not going to do it. So, out your own safety, and you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Hang on. We'll be right back. Check this out.
It's time to have some more blended family fun. Yeah. Are you ready?
What was that?
It's my new song. You like it?
Sure, I guess.
Well, it goes along with Enjoy the Journey, our new blended family roadmap to having fun together.
Oh, okay. I get it now. I feel the excitement, but why don't you tell them about it instead of singing it?
Fine, I guess. Let me try. This is a fun journey for your family, a new experience. You could go to the movies again, or you could get this for your family and come out with a new plan that creates more fun opportunities in your family. You'll laugh more, have more fun together, and create lasting memories that keeps your family stronger and healthier. And it's also about having more fun. How was that?
That was pretty good. I know that got them way more excited about the new journey they can go on as a family than your song did.
What? Come on.
You could have also told them that it not only creates more fun their whole family loves doing, but it also adds more fun for their marriage and new fun ways to connect with their kids individually. It's also great for that step-parent relationship. You could have said that too.
I don't think you really appreciated my song.
Ay, ay, ay. Anyways, Enjoy the Journey is ready for your family to start today. The link for more information is in the show notes. Have more family fun and create more lasting memories.
Have more family fun with your blended family and enjoy the journey today. Yeah.
Really? Let's get back to this episode.
Yeah.
Man, I love that. I mean, I don't know. It's just so eye-opening, I guess, because we do get stuck in a box or in the news stations or whatever. And it's right. You're right. It's everywhere.
Man, I tell you, just everything that y'all are doing and being able to go into different countries and experience that. I mean, that's just taking it to another level. Just so much more to see, so many other cultures. And it is so true. We get caught up in our own little box, our own little community, our own little family. And whenever we step outside of that, there's so much more to this world. There's so much more to life. And there's so much beauty in every culture, and just being able to experience that is amazing. And I love how you put it, that we're ambassadors for America. Just what a crazy cool thing, right? I mean, we had the chance to go to Haiti one time, and is saying stick out. We stuck out, but everybody there was so friendly, and the culture was amazing. Getting to meet everybody, eat the foods, hang out with the people. I remember one time we were walking down the road, and there were some kids playing soccer, and we stopped in, and they were like, yeah, come. We couldn't talk to each other for anything, right? We couldn't communicate, but we jumped in and started playing soccer, and we were laughing. By the end of it, we looked around, and there were just people all over watching us play this little silly game. And it's like we connected through soccer, we connected through sports, and we were all just laughing, enjoying each other. So I could only imagine everything that y'all have experienced doing this and the greatness that there is out there. But y'all didn't start that way, right? So y'all started, like you said, glamping. Y'all didn't just jump into overlanding. Y'all started just a little glamping, and then maybe stair stepped it up. How did that how long of a process was that for y'all before now you're going to other countries and experiencing all this?
So Randall, it was like a really steep, muddy, slippery slope. I wish I could say it was stair steps.
So y'all just hit it and slid.
We did. That initial camping trip that we talked about, that was April of 2016.
Okay, wow.
We bought because we had these, fancy sports cars. We bought our camping vehicle, which was a 97 Land Cruiser, which is a very
tank.
Yeah, we affectionately call it Frank the Tank, but it's a very capable off-road vehicle. And this one here, he is not going to buy something that's super capable and not test it out. We're engineers. So probably 2 weeks after we got that truck, we had it out on the trail off-roading. And then from there, it's like, okay, we need to learn more because we made so many mistakes that day. And from that, we were introduced to overlanding, what overlanding was. And we're like, oh, this makes sense. We like to travel. Now we have this vehicle. We love the outdoors. Let's be overlanders. Let's see what it takes.
Let's go that way.
Yeah. So it was like really a year later, because like I said, that was April 2016. May of 2017, we took our first cross-country trip to Flagstaff, Arizona. And the next year we did our first international trip to Colombia, South America. We actually shipped that vehicle to Colombia.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it's really been like pedal to metal.
Yeah, it's been all downhill.
Y'all dove deep.
Yeah.
So where would you say, for those that are like wanting, because I know our listeners, all of them except maybe me and the other people with our type personality here, it would want to go do this full time. But those that just they hear in your story, their marriage maybe even is at the brink, because we see that in blended families all the time, because it is so hard in blended families, even if it's a marriage thing or it's just restoring their whole family as a group. And they're hearing this and they're like, I don't know, I kind of would go camping, but maybe not. It's not my style. And they just were like, let's just say yes. Let's just do this. What would be first baby steps?
So I would say find a resource so that you can be as prepared as possible, whether it be your local REI, whether it be reaching out to Staples and Tents for some planning and preparation, whether it be attending one of our events, the gathering, which we kind of help people with all the how to get started and just becoming comfortable. Just find a resource where you can have a little bit of knowledge, because what we know is that regardless of whatever it is, whether it's camping, whether it's work, whether it's, doing a podcast, the more prepared you are, the more successful you'll be.
Yeah.
And the more fun it can be. It's really hard to get out doing something that you don't know anything about and just say, oh, I'm going to have fun. Yeah, it doesn't work out like that.
Yeah.
So
I'd say we'd recommend, as far as baby steps, look locally at, are there any groups within your area? Are there any state parks or national parks that you can get to? I'd say go to a state park because the infrastructures are a lot easier to work with. They're normally going to have bathrooms, showers, designated fire pits, picnic tables, all of the creature features, and even electrical power. If those are things that you have to, that you need to be successful, that's an easy win to get the family out in those kind of environments, or just yourself or your significant other. So those are baby steps that you can take. We also recommend not spending a lot of money on a bunch of gear, because you don't necessarily know if you're going to like it. So you don't go out and buy a $600 tent or a $300 stove, and you only use it once.
I could just see that. It's like, oh yeah, we're into this. Let's go do that. And you spend all the money and I don't like this.
There are companies like E.N.J.O.Y, REI, they'll rent you a tent. Yeah. So it can be a very low cost of entry. So rent something, borrow something, get something off of Craigslist, get out there and try it. But the key is to try it.
Yeah.
You got to say yes.
I love that. And just experiencing something new, if you're not a camper, maybe you are a camper and it's like, well, what about overlanding? Have we ever tried this? Let's step it up maybe and do something new. Just try it and see if you like it. I love hearing your story, because that's exactly what y'all did. You tried it and fell in love with it. And I love hearing that it was like a steep slope. Y'all just hit it and y'all just went. And now look at you today. You're so much that y'all are doing. I mean, you're on the road now, correct?
Yeah.
We're in Prescott, Arizona currently.
We've been traveling in a sense since March of 2022. We wrapped up my job. I had retired early. So 20 years working for the federal government, and I did a deferred retirement, so because I'm too young, and went to Africa. And we spent 2 months there, came back. We had our truck being outfitted for this trip to Mexico, and really the trip for the world. And once we got back, we picked it up, and within 2 weeks, we were heading to Mexico, where we spent another 2 months traveling along the Gulf Coast until we got to Tulum, and then we made our way to Mexico City, then all the way down to the Pacific Ocean where Acapulco is, and worked our way up the western coast of Mexico until we got to Baja, jumped over on a ferry, and then made our way all the way up the coast of Baja until we got into Southern California. I think we came in Mexicali, and we have been sort of traveling. Now we're starting a western route, or from west to east route, till we get to the gathering in Colorado, which is going to be an amazing experience for everyone coming there.
And so kind of everything that the two of you do now, y'all on YouTube. Y'all have so many videos on YouTube. You run Staples and Tents. You help other people understand kind of what you're doing and engage. And you have conferences as well, right? Could y'all maybe talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, so when we started, we quickly realized, because none of our friends and family, they're like, I don't get it. Why? What are you doing out in the woods? We quickly realized that we needed to document what we were doing, just so we could share our experiences.
Because our families and friends were like, What are you? What?
Wow.
Whenever you do something new, I think they're always the ones that come against you first. It's like, what are you
Y'all
doing?
are crazy.
Right.
Yeah, so we started virtually with trying to inspire and educate other people with our adventures with YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And then last year we created an in-person experience because so many people would message us and say they wanted to camp with us.
Oh.
But you can't camp with everybody. So let's create an experience where everyone can come, they feel welcome, they feel safe. And we kind of allow everyone's guard to drop because it's in a safe environment. Whether you go, you go for camping the first time, you're a little nervous, you're a little tense. It's like, no, let's
remove the barriers.
Yeah. And then really work to educate people on the proper way to outdoor in a responsible way. But then things like the correct gear to use,
how to camp cook, fire starting, or firecraft, I think would be the easiest way to call that. Okay. And how to take care of the campsites, leave no trace, have the most minimum impact that you can on an environment. Those are the kind of things that we want to have people experience when they come to the gathering, so that when they leave, they're more curious about exploring, but they're confident because they've had this experience. They've met other experienced people, and they can be more comfortable because we covered sort of the gear that people are using most commonly for their experience. And they get to see a diverse array of how people camp, car camp, overland, or just camp in general. So you get to actually go and talk to other people who might have a build for their rig that's similar to what you might want to do.
Yeah, and then for the people who have never camped before and are really tentative about it, we try to select venues that have a wide variety of accommodations, cabins. Our October event in Asheville, they even have a farmhouse for a whole family can stay, and it's really nice. RVs on site, and then if you want to rent an RV and bring it, or you have your own RV, there's space where you can bring your own RV. And then if you have your own tent set up, or overlanding set up, van, however it is that you enjoy outdoors, we want you to come. And even if you want to camp and don't have your own camping gear, we partner with brands that are donating gear for people to rent so they can really have that camping experience. So,
and we keep it, and the other element to this is we're Americans, and we pursue the freedom and happiness that was intended for Americans. And we want all Americans to feel open and feel safe. So blended families, whatever your ethnicity is, whatever your sexual orientation is, we just want Americans to feel safe, and that this is an American environment and American experience. So we have leaned into it with the full spirit of humanity that you can bring to the table, because we really want our country to be what the four founders said it was going to be.
Yeah, we're trying to be the change that we want to be.
We want to see.
We're trying to be the change that we want to be. So it's really, I think what makes the gathering special is the diversity, not just the diversity in vehicles, the diversity in accommodations, the diversity in people. It's just a really good positive energy space. And it's a really easy entry point into the outdoors because it's that comfortable environment. It's people that whether you know us from online or whatever. Most people say, "Oh, you're just like the person that I saw online." Yeah,
we pull no strings. This is who we are.
Yes. And so y'all have an event that's right now, as we're recording, that's happening here very soon, and then y'all have one coming up in October, you said?
Yes, there's one event in Van Corm, Colorado, August 18th through 22nd. And then our next event will be in Hendersonville, North Carolina, which is right outside of Asheville. And that is October 14th through 16th. Both events will be amazing. And we're just so excited to share everything that we've learned and like our passion and love for the outdoors. And our goal isn't that everyone become overlanders.
Yeah.
Our goal is that wherever you are in your outside journey, that we create a space where people can try something different, and they are educated and inspired to go and adventure outdoors however they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Want to create stewards of the planet. You know, that's if there is an agenda, it's that if you love being outdoors, if you love being connected to it, then you're more apt to want to take care of it. And all of the pollution things that we can do to address it, trash, any of those kind of things that we can help to address it, ensures that future generations will be able to enjoy it as much as we do.
Yes. Love that. No, I love the message. I love being environmentally friendly, and that's, I am a big advocate of that. But just everything that you're doing there, you're showing people, hey, this is camping, making it, like you said, breaking down barriers, making it easy, making it fun, equipping them with tools, knowledge. That way, whenever they can go and have, share these experiences on their own, they're better prepared, knowing how to take care of the earth, knowing how to just be prepared for each other and what you need and everything, be equipped. So I love that. I love that so much. So blended family, all my B fams out there, if you're wanting to get into outdoors, you're wanting to grow more into that, you're wanting to gain more knowledge, you got to connect with them. So, Sonya and Necota, are there for you to help really enhance that experience. But man, I mean, you're taking this from a couple that this saved their marriage. This is something that just really ignited a new passion in their lives. It created a new lifestyle just by trying something different, saying yes.
Yeah.
So that's the power in that, connecting. We build relationships by hanging out together, by doing new things together, by having fun together. That's what life is all about. And there's so much to see and so much to do in this world. So we just want to thank you, Sonya and Necota, for coming and sharing your message. I know this won't be the last time. We're going to have to stay connected and just really follow your travels. It is inspiring and uplifting. So thank you both for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
and where could people find y'all? Is it Staples and Tents on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of that?
Yeah, on all social media platforms, we are Staples and Tents. Our last name is Staples, and we sleep in tents. That's how we do it. And then sometimes, just in marriage and relationships and adventure, things just get intense.
You got to play on words there a little bit. I love that.
It is. So we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok as Staples and Tents. And we also have a website, www.staplesandtents, where you can find more information about us, our adventures, and our event, The Gathering. And then if you want to support us along our journey and get behind the scenes content, we also have Patreon. So patreon.com/staplesandtents.
Yeah,
okay.
Keep
Love
moving again so that we can go that way.
Who knows which way? We're just going to go one way. We're going to enjoy the journey together. So
because it's all about the journey, not the destination.
That's it.
And when I read that because that is like his key phrase saying that he loves and what we founded our business on, and even blended families on. So when I read that with Overlanding, that's the thing. It's not about your destination where you're going. It's about this journey that you're on. And I was like,
perfect.
Yep. Drop mic. That's it.
But if you
Stage left.
if you think about it, that's life. In our mind, we would want to get to a point and that be it. You can't focus on the end goal. Yeah. It's really about the journey and how you get there.
It is. And it's about choosing joy, right? It's about choosing it, because we can stay in all of our mess, or we can choose joy and get out of it and do something new, fun, different, and enjoy life. So I love that. Well, thank you both. This has been so amazing. And I know all of our listeners, you're walking away saying, okay, I need a tent. I'm going to go borrow one. I'm not going to invest a lot just yet, but I'm going to go do this. I got to get outdoors and try this thing. So be sure you connect. We're going to put all of those links in our show notes. That way you got easy access to just connect with Staples Intense and stay connected with their journey and everything that they're doing. But the ultimate thing I hope you've taken away from this is enjoy each other. Say yes to each other. Do new things together. Try things because you never know what'll come from it. So we love you guys, and we will see everybody on the next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope this episode has been a blessing and encouraged your family journey.
Make sure you stay connected with us and join our weekly Blended Family newsletter. We send an email out every Friday morning full of support and encouragement.
And when you join, we also want to give you a free gift. So go get yours today. The link is in the show notes below.
Have an amazing day. Remember to enjoy the journey with your blended family, and we'll see you on the next episode.